Welcome back to Today in Rocket Science. I'm Adam Balkin. So now for the third stage of this watershed we've been telling you about, the lake, the final destination of all this water. Or is it? Lake Kaweah and the Terminus Dam are at the bottom of the watershed that these students have spent 3 days exploring. But as these young environmental enthusiasts are learning, it's not the end of the water's journey.
Once that water reaches the valley, there's a lot of people that want a part of it. There's a lot of farmers that rely on it. Anywhere you go in the country, you can find produce from California's Central Valley.
And for many of these teens, their families rely on the agriculture in the valley.
My mom works in agriculture. She picks out the fruit. She needs the water to grow the crops. If not, then the plants would die.
But irrigation isn't all these students learned about. They also discovered the history behind Lake Kaweah and the Terminus Dam.
The floods that have ripped through this valley in the past have been devastating. And so they built that dam, and it's got that double use of irrigation and flood control.
And the dam does more than just that.
Water is sucked into a turbine, and the turbine spins and makes the electricity, and it could supply a lot of homes.
Rangers hope that by showing them all these aspects of the watershed over their 3-day journey, it will give them the power and the knowledge to help solve future problems like the drought they're experiencing right now.
No matter where you live in the world, you have these watersheds. You could be out in the desert, you could be in a rainforest, and here in California, I think it's important for our local youth to understand where their water comes from.
All of the things that they think are almost too cool for school, they find there's jobs, there's actually college degrees that they can get so that they can come to a place like this and make their living doing the cool things that they love.
So while students here continue to learn about water across the country in North Carolina, we have some students now learning about wind.
Make sure you got it like that.
Wheels turn as these 5th graders try to figure out how to make a wind turbine from foam board, sticks, and PVC pipe.
We had tons of ideas. We couldn't even pick.
Julia Narvaez says it's a lot of trial and error.
We need to fix that.
The teacher equipped the students with supplies.
The spiral part, we had to try to stick the wooden sticks into it.
A short lesson in renewable energy.
The turbines help us produce energy without polluting the air.
And a helping hand, but other than that, they were left to their own devices.
They could decide with partners the size of the blade, the shape of the blade, the pitch or the angle that they wanted, and then they're measuring how many volts that their turbine can put out.
I think that's a lot better these days in the real world. They're not just gonna teach you something and then you have to go do it, and they're not gonna help you. You have to try to do it yourself.
From beginning to end, the students used a little science, technology, engineering, and math, a complete STEM project. When things didn't quite work how they were supposed to, the students resorted back to the engineering design process.
My favorite part is number 5, evaluate. See if this angle isn't right, so we could just, fix that. And then if we fix it, it might work. Some of the triangles are hitting each other, but we push it to the side so it still works. I'm a big fan of engineering. I always like to, jiggle around with all these stuff.
It's a project that could energize power and students in the future. For It Ain't Rocket Science, I'm Brianna Walden.
So we spent the bulk of this show focusing on the science and beauty of nature. We're going to shift now for a few minutes and instead focus on the science and beauty of art.
I'm Stephanie Simon in New York City. All performers want to be in the spotlight. The Illuminate dancers wear the lights and wow the audience with their technical and artistic innovations. The dancers wear light suits to create larger-than-life dance performances. The show also sparks a lot of curiosity in the youngsters in the audience.
They don't know if we're real humans or not, and they're like, oh my God, can I touch it? And they want to know how it's made and how it works.
It's all the brainchild of dancer and software engineer Miral Cobb, who combined her two passions to create Illuminate.
You take light suits, which have been around for a while, but then you add to it this wireless networking technology, and it turns into something where the dancers can appear and disappear. The lights can flash faster than the human eye can actually process, so you get this really visual kind of candy that your eyes just love.
The suits are built at Illuminate's studio in Brooklyn, but these are a lot different from what they wore on America's Got Talent back in 2011.
If you go back and watch what we looked like on the show, we were very 2D because we were only wearing we call them boards, but we were wearing like 2 boards at the time. Now we're wearing up to 4 or 5 boards, so it's about twice as many circuits and lights.
I gave it a try and found even wearing part of a costume really weighs you down, making even the simplest dance moves much more difficult. They do many styles of dance, and of course, the robot is one of them.
This is the robot character of the show. And basically, yeah, it's wirelessly controlled electroluminescent wiring with LEDs.
What's really impressive about this operation is how entertaining it is, while also shedding light on the many cool applications of technology in the performing arts.
You know, it's actually kind of cool to be a software engineer. So I think the more people take away the stigma behind it, the more they'll realize that it's actually a very practical job, and it works for men or women because a lot of what software development is kind of problem solving.
Which is why the show continues to evolve technically and artistically. For It Ain't Rocket Science, I'm Stephanie Simon.
Well, that does it for this episode of It Ain't Rocket Science. We hope you've enjoyed our little tour of Sequoia National Park. And remember, to find out more about science, technology, engineering, and math opportunities in your neck of the woods, head over to www.connectamillionminds.com. Until next time, it's been a blast.